I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gay, no, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't know those lavish delights, now you ain't no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I am joined via Zoom by none other than Luke Hansen, editor-in-chief of Ward Radio News. And today we're going to be talking about, I usually say this with a lot more confidence, Luke, this guy, Mr. Beat? I'd never heard of him until today when there was some chatter. Has Mr. Beat gone anti-Mormon? And if I understand you correctly, you say that we have a follow-up, on BYU professor chastising some students. Do I have that right, Luke?
Do. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Well, before we get any further, we just want to remind everybody, please, as you're coming into the chat, make sure that you smash that like button and you share this with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time for us to earn your subscription. Boy, it's a hot mess today. There's stuff falling everywhere.
It is. It's so true. Yeah. But hey, we gave everybody a high quality debunking video earlier today.
Yeah.
So you can cut us some slack on this one.
That was really, really funny. And the antis were getting really mad in the chat. And I actually had a lot of fun reading some of those comments. It was absolutely hilarious.
The one that I thought was funny, I can't remember what her name is from the Mormonish podcast.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have anything against her personally, but she came in with a comment before the video even aired, when it was just out as premieres later today. She came into the comment section and was like, nobody was excited by this theory. We just did a 2.5-hour video all excited about what he wrote because we like to bring on people with different viewpoints.
Nobody was excited. They were gushing.
Yeah.
Okay, no, they got caught.
Well, and then she said, well, and this is old news. Nobody believes this is true anymore. Like, yes, you caught us. We record videos beforehand sometimes, but when you say this is old news, you mean like 3 months ago. Like, and then she went on to say, but did you know that the church purchased that guy's collection of books and hid them away in the archive collection? It's like, okay. Either you have to go with the it's old news, so we shouldn't care about it anymore route, or yeah, let's bring up something that the person who is in charge of the special collections of BYU, some purchases that they made in 1980, and that's so relevant. Like, you got to pick a side here.
Yeah.
But it was some entertainment. Dan
That's
Vogel
funny.
even slid into the comment section.
D Vogel. What
Yeah.
did he say, man? He's your boy. What did he say?
He slid into her comment. I forget what her name is. I apologize. I'm forgetting her name. But she just said, like, I hope you guys bring up Dan Vogel's response to this, because that's what everybody believes now is what Dan Vogel said about it. And then Dan Vogel just said, like, thank you. This was before the video aired, so they didn't know that we actually had done our research and did play that exact Dan Vogel video that she was saying.
That is funny. For people that claim to have the hidden truths that were, hidden by the Mormon church, I'm amazed at how much they just don't read. Like how much just like lazy learning is real, man. It's real. And sometimes it's frustrating because they'll lob some kind of attack, some just like two or three sentence attack that sounds heinous and horrible. And then you'll actually, with no receipts, it's a total baseless claim. And then you'll come and you'll just debunk it and you'll show how it's absolutely wrong and how here's the receipts on this, here's a primary source on that, and here's the primary source on that. And then they just say like, well, that's just BS. Mormon church is like full of pedophiles, or just like it's like, wow. Okay. It's like what Bill Burr said when he said all this good technology is literally just wasted on the most ungrateful technology. He was sitting in an airplane next to a guy that couldn't get internet fast enough and couldn't get the in-flight movie downloaded fast enough. So he leans back and goes, dude, that's BS, man. That's just BS. And Bill Burr looks at him. He's like, will you give it a minute? It's like, it's going to space and back. You know what I'm saying? And so I just sometimes think, why sometimes you can't even respond to these people, because just you'll show up with like primary sources, scans of original documentation, journals from the 1870s, independent stories you've actually collected from your ancestors and scanned into ancestry.com. But no. They want to believe DNC 132 is forged, or they want to believe that Joseph Smith really lied about Fanny Alger, or they want to believe whatever. And they're just like, dude, it's BS, man. You don't know what to do, but they're the keepers of truth. Right. So anyway, we're digressing. We're digressing, my man. Who is Mr. Beat? And
do we want to do this one, or do we want to do the BYU professor one first?
I don't know. Let's let okay. Is this the same BYU professor that was chastising, that ripped up the family proclamation just a week ago?
No. This is another guy. This
is
another guy who has inserted himself into the conversation. This goes way back, Cardin. This goes back 2 years that me personally and the Cougar Chronicle have had some run-ins with this guy. It's from the education department.
Are we settling some old Cougar Chronicle beefs here?
So the thing was, I wasn't even gonna like do this story. I'd been talking to him on Twitter, and then the guy who writes with me at the Cougar Chronicle, Ethan, shout out to Ethan.
Okay,
was like, I think I'll make a story about this, and I was like, okay. So it was another guy, not under my direction, who said, I want to write a story about a thing that relates to you. So then I, as the editor-in-chief, gave a comment to one of the people that writes for Ward Radio News to then put it on. It's a weird circle of life going on here. So yeah, we can cover this pretty quickly, but
all right, do the BYU professor thing as we're waiting for people to come into the chat. As everybody's coming on, there's a lot of folks in the chat saying, wait, I wasn't expecting this. A lot of people have said BYU professor. So I guess we're going to start out
with the BYU
with
professor.
the BYU professor and a super chat. Anvil DIY says, when's Travis Anderson coming on? The people want Travis. Yes, they do. And we are glad to invite Travis Anderson on anytime. Also, Stripling Boomer says, how is our friend Kwaku? Well, let me tell you, our friend Kwaku is doing really well. He's working his duff off, getting a couple of events planned. Really quickly though, we've got a lot of events coming up. We might as well say now. We might as well announce it now. In fact, let me pull it up here on Ward Radio. We've got a little early bird ticket deal going on right now. If you guys go to wardradio.com and then you click on the very top here, I'm going to put it on your guys' screen so you can see it. If you go to wardradio.com and then you click on events, we actually got an event coming up. You want to tell them what the event is, Luke? Because you helped plan it, my man.
Indeed. And actually, I didn't have time to confirm that you did have these tickets up beforehand. So this is fun to see it and hear it. Yeah, so we have got lined up a Mesoamerica versus Heartlander debate in Utah, in person. Cardin's going to fly out. I'm flying out. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. And it is, I have to read the address because this is the first time I'm seeing it.
It's at the Enigma 3 Event Center. Yeah, exactly.
In Vineyard.
Yep, right here.
A pretty centralized location for all you Utah people. And as far as I'm aware, this will be the first ever Mesoamerican versus Heartlander debate. Now, this is going to be news to you, Cardin. And it's going to kind of blow your mind a little bit.
Okay, why?
And the people here, because the people who are debating this goes way back 2 years ago or more. Greg Mattson did a video with the Heartlander, and the Heartlander was complaining about how they can never get the Meso people to talk with them.
Really?
They just keep ignoring us. Yeah. And Greg's expressed some frustration about that. I know you've expressed some frustration about that, Cardin. So I reached out to Rod Meldrum, top tier Heartlander. I got him on board.
Top tier. He's the Heartlander of Heartlanders, man. That's like saying, I reached out to George Washington. He's kind of like, top tier American. Man, he's the father of our country, baby. Rod Meldrum is the father of the Heartlanders. I love that cat. So keep going.
So he said he's on board and for this date. And then the other guy I reached out to said that he was, good to go. He had reached out to us with why the Heartland theory doesn't work. So I said, hey, do you want to do in this? Because I didn't want to have bad blood. Because I know some of these big guys, they've been clashing for 2 decades over this stuff. And I was like, this isn't a drama thing. This is just a debate. The first ever formal, I should add that in, formal, timed opening statements, rebuttals, all that jazz. And unfortunately, our person who is tapped to be the Meso guy ducked out.
Wait,
a little bit of cold feet. I reached out to Scripture Central and they were very open to it, but they said, unfortunately, none of our people are going to be available for that time. So I have a replacement. You want to hear the replacement that I have for the Mesoamerican side?
Jerry Grover? Josh Gailey?
Nope.
Who is it?
Myself.
What? No, you're going to fight these guys?
I'm going to be, and this goes back to the Greg Mattson video. I commented in that video and I said, it's unfortunate that apparently the Meso people won't talk to you if that's true.
No, but you're cool-headed, Luke. You're debating. You're the moderator, bro. We gotta get that. No, we got. Whoa,
you gotta step in, Cardin. You gotta step in. I tried to find somebody else, but going back to that comment on Greg's video over 2 years ago, I said, if the Meso people aren't going to debate, I would be happy to step in and debate on their behalf because I want to see something like this happen. So I am fulfilling my own promise that I made over 2 years ago on Quick Media in the comment section, and I'm going to step into the ring.
All right. Wow. Okay. Well, we can debate these details later. The point is there's a debate going down. Mesoamerican versus Heartlanders. Wait, so who backed out, my man? Brad?
I'm not going to say it on air because it's...
Well, I just dumped $2,000. You know what I'm saying?
Cardin, I will give you a good show. Don't you worry.
Okay, all right.
I've already been on the phone with Josh Gailey. I'm gonna talk with Jerry Grover. I've purchased the books.
Yeah.
Work is pretty
Okay.
quiet right now.
Oh, really? You think you're
So-
going to take on Rod Meldrum, huh? All right. Well, we can talk about these details later. The point is, you can check out the event at wardradio.com. So tell us what's going on really fast tell us what's going on this BYU professor thing. What's happening?
All right. So the first professor that we talked about a week ago or so, right after the election, posted on his door saying, "You're fulfilling the prophecy that if the people choose wickedness, that destruction will rain down upon them, and this is all your fault, BYU students that walk by my door." Cougar Chronicle posted that story, and then we had, I guess you might call him an old nemesis, Professor Eric Bybee, who slid into the comments section. He actually didn't slide into the comments section. He slid onto Twitter with a 42, I believe, tweet long thread about why the Cougar Chronicle is terrible and shouldn't have posted this story.
Really?
And so if you go to Ward Radio News,
Okay.
you can kind of get a brief summary. But one of the things that he said, and I'm going to see if there's a picture of it in the news story right now.
Okay.
I do not see it.
BYU
Okay.
professor criticizes the Cougar Chronicle. You decide who's in the right. Oh, rough. Is this another one of these like post Donald Trump getting elected like leftist rants that we've been hearing out all over the internet? What's going on?
He posted in his thread this thing saying, "I understand why Trump voters might feel rather frustrated right now because your own bad decisions basically has led like your family not to talk to you." And he quoted a thing of like, "Can you believe all these leftists aren't talking to their family members anymore just because they voted for Trump?" And this guy like seemed to endorse that and say like, "Well, it's your fault for voting for a fascist, basically, that your mom's not talking to you anymore, or like your daughter's not talking to you anymore."
Oh my gosh, look at this. So it's this Eric Ruiz Bybee guy.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me when I tell you that this targeting may silence some profs who want to avoid harassment, but it's not changing the fundamental works of the Christ-centered disciple scholars at BYU. I say this as the OG Cougar Cron harassment receiver. Oh boy. Okay, and then professors are facing targeted harassment on college campuses. The takeaway. Wow. Okay, so is he claiming he's getting harassed? Is he actually getting harassed and he's just what's the term? Exaggerating? What's going on? Tell us what's happening, man.
Well, I think what the Cougar Chronicle posted in response sums this up pretty well. They quote tweeted his comment that he put on the Instagram post, and they said, BYU Professor Eric Bybee gets mad at us for ... noticing. Because essentially what his claim is, and I'm steel manning here, is he's saying that people like the Cougar Chronicle shouldn't put these stories out here of professors saying things that we think are crazy, because then when other people see it, they might make mean comments towards that professor, or they might send him a nasty email. So it's your responsibility not to put that information out there, because other people are going to react to it in a way that will cause contention or cause harassment.
Okay, interesting.
Which I don't personally understand. It's like, well, it's like in a marriage, if the wife's like, "Well, if you comment poorly on my looks, that I'm going to give you the silent treatment. So it's actually your fault that I'm, I don't follow the logic." But he's gotten very mad, and apparently he says that he's representing BYU as a whole and saying that the general response from BYU, based on the meetings that he's been in, is that the Cougar Chronicle and people who post stuff about BYU going woke are completely ineffectual and are just getting in the way of the wonderful work that BYU professors are doing.
Jeez, rough, man. Absolutely rough. So, hold on, I'm just fixing something here really fast. Hold on. Okay, if there's any question that we're doing this live, then there's your answer right there, right? So, okay, cool. So what's going to happen? Like, is this just kind of like, this is all going to even out in the next couple of weeks, or hopefully by January 2nd, everybody that's just convinced that they're sitting in the pews next to people who voted for fascism or whatever. That's all going to be, out of our system. We all can sing Kumbaya again and get along together, or what?
I think it will, because I guess I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
If nothing actually happens, if Trump comes in and he doesn't declare himself king on day one and he doesn't rip up the Constitution and he does leave office after his second term that he's going to be starting soon, I think it's just going to die away. And the problem is maybe everybody will kind of forget that this happens because we have a very short political memory.
Yeah.
And then 8 years from now, some other dude is going to be up for president and they're going to be Hitler, and it's going to be absolutely terrible that people are voting for them. And this is the worst thing that's happened in American history, and it might happen again. So hopefully people actually compare what they said was going to happen to what actually happens and then act accordingly. But I fear that it's just going to kind of get forgotten in the political memory, and we're going to move on to the next controversy. So,
wow.
But point being,
okay.
I do not think it is proper. Because I think what Bybie's doing here, and I actually kind of said it in my comment. I'll just read my statement that I put in this story because I like it, because I said it.
Yeah.
I said, I appreciate calls for civility and thoughtfulness in online activity. What concerns me is that he is accusing the Cougar Chronicle of unchristlike behavior because of how a handful of people decided to react to a factual news story. It got worse when he seems to suggest that it's Trump supporters' fault if their family won't talk to them. It seems that his idea of how we establish political harmony again is for conservatives to change their mind, or at the very least shut up. Sadly, our tithing is paying for this professor to teach this worldview to future teachers, since he's an education professor. So this Jonathan Haidt has talked about this. Abigail Shrier has talked about this. You have to protect the kids. It's very terrible if anybody hears any criticism or experiences any pushback, because everybody's just so delicate and mean words can hurt you, as opposed to sticks and stones may break my bones. That was the mantra in the 90s. Now we've moved into if anybody says anything mean to you, if something you say makes somebody else say something mean to somebody else, then it's your job to not even say that. I think you just need to shut up, because of the hundreds of people that hear what you say, one of them might say something mean to somebody else.
By the way,
that's so toxic. We need to get away from that.
Can all these leftists just stop doing this BS? Because I'm so sick and tired of them holding the humanity of everybody else hostage. Did you see what Trigonometry put out today? I'm actually gonna pull up this graphic. All right. Trigonometry put out a really funny community post today, if I'm not mistaken, and it here it is right here. He said, fine, call me right wing. Because I'm looking right now at the title of the article that you posted, and it said to protect professors from right wing attacks, right? Here's the graphic of what right wing means. And there I am right in the middle. In 2008, I was actually left of center. In 2012, oh my gosh, now I'm center. But you look at the left, just booking it to the left of the screen, right? And then finally, when they go all the way out into woke progressive land, and I've stayed in the same spot, all of a sudden, I'm right of center and the conservatives are laughing out loud, right? We just elected basically 4 hardcore people to the presidency and in Donald Trump's cabinet. And guess what? They all used to be Democrats. Donald Trump used to be a Democrat. Elon Musk, who's heading up the Department of Governmental Efficiency, right? He used to be a Democrat. He used to be an open socialist on Twitter before he bought it, all right? Then you've got who's up next? Tulsi Gabbard, who literally I watched in 2016 in the Democrat primary debates, like an angel from God taking down Kamala Harris in that white suit. Oh, it was the most beautiful thing of 2016. Sorry, of 2020. And then who's the next one up? RFK? Vivek? Every single person in that picture used to be a Democrat. So don't say, and I'm going to pull this up again, your Ward Radio article. I just started burning through it. You got to tell me when these things come out, man, so I can read them ahead of time. But I'm looking at this, and this Bybee professor posts this, and it's like, what? Dear administrators, to protect your faculty from right-wing attacks, follow them. Shut up. Right-wing attacks?
So he went and looked up because Tommy Stevenson started the Cougar Chronicle with me. So he went and looked up Tommy Stevenson. This is during the workday, by the way. It's like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Okay.
During his workday. And he posts a picture of like, look, they're channeling this hate that they're spreading, doing this conservative paper into their careers where they become part of the right-wing ecosystem. And he posts a picture of like Tommy's, staff photo from his current job at the Post Millennial to not really like dox him because he wasn't giving away any private info, but to like try to put it on blast out there that you shouldn't respect.
Oh, the Post Millennial.
Tommy Stevenson because
jeez.
And
let's
so
get our red laces.
I quote tweeted that and said I was very offended that he also didn't highlight the wonderful work that I've done in conservative media after and put like my current position
there
to call him out.
These people,
but
man.
I did throw in the chat the tweet that he put out, just so I'm not misrepresenting what he's saying. It's the last thing in the Discord is the photo of what he said about Trump family members. I mean, family members of Trump voters not talking to them.
Okay, that is such absolute garbage that I want to see stats on that before the left can say that anymore. Because let me tell you, anecdotally, it is the absolute other way around. And anti-Mormon rule number 3 is like they always accuse you of that which they are woefully guilty of themselves.
No, Cardin, he embraces it.
Oh, he embraces it.
Look at this that I put.
Wait.
He doesn't even try to apologize for it.
We've got a BYU professor teaching at the University of the church that released the Proclamation of the Family, literally saying you should not talk to your Donald Trump voting family members.
No, not quite. But he kind of softly endorses the idea, but I'll just let him speak for himself. And maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but so this is tweet number 17 in his 42 tweet long thread that he put out about how he was mad about this article he put out about another person, not even himself. And he said, combine that unfulfilled promise of returning to a white picket fence America. So he's talking about like how Donald Trump is actually a terrible person because he went in jail and got impeached by Nancy Pelosi. Okay. So combine that unfulfilled promise of returning to white picket fence America with the nagging feeling that you've compromised your integrity and perhaps lost the respect of family, friends, neighbors, etc. And I would be pretty upset right now too. And then he's doing that as quote tweeting somebody who said the media has successfully divided families. Shame on all of you. This woman voted for Trump and her family won't even talk to her. So he's basically saying, oh, look, lady, you've lost the respect of your family members. Man, I'd be pretty mad too if I were you. Like,
it's kind of like the mafia when they're like, hey, that's a really nice car you got there. It'd be sad if something happened to it,
Yeah, but he seems to be saying that the family members who refuse to talk to their children because of how they voted, or the children refusing to talk to their parents because of how they voted, that's just a consequence of you making a stupid decision. Sorry, you lost their respect. What can I say? Your fault,
man. And so like here I am telling people, wait 24 hours before you dunk on them. Come on, guys, let's get along here. No human relationships are worth sacrificing at the altar of modern federal politics, guys. Rise above it. And he's like, hey, you deserve it. That is so sad, man. That is so sad. Okay, cool.
Sad.
Well, all right, sweet. So that's disappointing. That's just disappointing. Has this guy been a problematic professor before? You had lots of other run-ins with him, or is this a one-off deal?
He did a 62 tweet long thing when the professor had, it was what was she in? Sociology, I believe. She posted a whiteness assignment, and so you're supposed to take pictures of things that exemplify whiteness on campus.
Don't tell me he was down with that.
Oh, he was down with it. This was back in like 2021, 2022. Kind of more that era where that was popular. And so we at the Cougar Chronicle posted that, and he slid into our comments section and said, if this post is not down by 8 p.m. tonight, I am going to personally go to Kevin Oot of the Honor Code office, and since you guys are being anonymous, I'm going to find every single person on your website that's associated with the Cougar Chronicle and report all of you to the Honor Code office for inciting harassment of this poor professor.
Dude, this is just like
not in his same department. He's in education, she's in sociology, but she got some mean emails, and so he took it upon himself to say that he was going to track down every last one of us and report us to the Honor Code office because of emails that other people sent from our story that was just posting the facts about an assignment and a professor gave out.
Dude, you need to see this Thomas Sowell Thomas Sowell quote right here. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
I love me some Thomas Sowell.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm sure you'd be down with this one, right? But here's Thomas Sowell, and this has just never been more true in my life than in the past year. Civil rights used to be about treating everybody the same, but today some people are so used to special treatment that equal treatment is considered to be discrimination, right? These professors have just been so, especially BYU professors, have been so spoiled by the goodness of the church educational system in terms of pay, job flexibility, family flexibility, so on and so forth. And they live in a system so conservative that they can kind of just push and shove whatever liberal idea they have in any direction that they really want without having too much care or regard for any of the consequences, because everybody's so worried about, well, you don't want to offend a brother, and we're all brothers and sisters in the church first, and let's get along. And there's like spoiled children raised with no repercussions that just don't know where the social boundaries are until they go out in the real world. And they're at some yuppie northeastern Ivy League school dorm, and it's the first time cops show up and say, yeah, your dad's not going to be here to bail you out of this drug charge this time, kid. You're spending the night in New York City prison. You know, like welcome to Columbia University, pal. You know, it's just they've gone so far for so long being able to progressive so hard, and they've gotten so used to a protected status as a professor, somebody that most, LDS parents entrust their children's education and spiritual futures with, right? They've received so much preferential treatment for so long, being able to just spout whatever heinous and cruel progressive thing they want, as long as they couch it in, oh, well, I just care that they now, when all of a sudden they're getting equal treatment and people are starting to challenge their ideas just as badly as any other right-wing person's ideas were challenged, that with a little bit of pushback, they just melt. They absolutely just melt. And the first ones to go, it seems to be, are these liberal BYU professors. I don't want to say liberal because I love liberals. Liberalism is a good and a beautiful thing, okay? But this woke progressive version that's trying so hard to be what is already out of style in New York and Los Angeles it's disappointing. It's pathetic. It's below the station of somebody that should be in the church's employ. And I don't know, is there any sign that this cat's learning his lesson, or are we all just spitting into the wind here?
I had a conversation with him, which is not what happened last time. He refused to talk to us, but we went back and forth like 8 times on X. It ended with him saying that he was very disappointed that we had not changed our views, and so it was a fruitless conversation. That's a weird way to go about things. Like, if people aren't convinced of your argument, then it's not even useful to talk to them. But he's not like totally crazy. And I also want to, because some people see stuff like this and then they say, oh, BYU is completely off the rails and therefore I could never send my kids there, all this kind of stuff. I don't really agree with that line of thinking either.
Yeah, that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, there's thousands of professors at BYU. And so the fact that every now and then one does something crazy, it can show that maybe BYU needs to do a better job of training them on what the appropriate expression of their political beliefs is, or maybe monitor what they're teaching in the classroom a little more. That doesn't mean the whole institution is completely useless and you should send your kid. I don't know even know where else you'd send them besides maybe like BYUI or what's that one in the
No, that's
Midwest?
Just foolishness.
Hillsdale?
People believing that the same people that believe Fox News like tells the real story about what happens here in California. Fox News butchers California just as badly as MSNBC butchers Trump. So, I mean, once you start figuring out that it's just propaganda garbage, then you'll be in better shape. Fog Defense sends us a super chat really fast saying your unnamed mods are awaiting their packages. Well, let me tell you, mods, your packages just got better today. There's a unique little bit of merch that is coming out just for you guys that I'm picking up on Friday. And Fog Defense, up there in Canada, and Alicia Brown down there in Australia. Your patience will be rewarded. You have some packages coming your way, but I want to make sure that these ones were here in time for, frankly, the Christmas season. So you got some good stuff coming here, and your patience will be rewarded. So Fog Defense, hang in there, my man. Speaking of Stripling Boomer gave us a super chat, and I already read it. But guess what's coming? A little sneak peek of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We've got them, ladies and gentlemen. The Stripling Boomer shirts. Have you seen the logo yet, bro?
No, I've seen the other one though that Jonah was working on.
Oh yeah,
we haven't put out yet. But
okay, should I show the logo right now? That's going to be on the shirts.
Sure, why not?
Should I do it? Okay, so I'm gonna put this into the Discord so you can see it. But this, my friend, is the logo that's going to be on the front. So you take a look at this first. I want to see your reaction on the screen when you see it. Do you see the
Well, I have a delay, so I got to wait for it to show up on YouTube.
No. I put it in the Discord so you can see it.
Oh, the Discord.
Okay, so the front is the square, and then the back is what's gonna be on the back. So basically, it's gonna be a long sleeve T-shirt, and now I guess I gotta show the audience, right? So I'm gonna pull it up on the on the screen right here. But this is going to be the logo that is on the front. It says Ward Radio, and what do you notice about the Stripling Boomer in front of the sunset? What do you notice about it, Luke Hansen?
They have a musket and a trowel.
Yes, they're holding a musket and a trowel, and on the back, dude, I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty rad. So
the grass is kind of covering the New Balance sneakers, but I assume that they got that too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought exactly of putting the New Balance because it's the Stripling Boomers, but yeah, you're right. Maybe we need to add some New Balance sneakers, right? And then this right here is going to be on the back. I am a proud Stripling Boomer, with a QR code that goes to a page dedicated to just the Stripling Boomers. And it gets even better though, bro. It gets even better because there's going to be a stripling on one shoulder and then Boomer on the other. You're going to see that in the Ward Radio merch store. Along with these, did you notice? I forgot to take this off. I was going to do an announcement at the beginning of the live stream. But, bro, we got beanies, man. Did you see that, Luke?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you think?
I saw that, but it didn't occur to me that you didn't have those before.
Yeah, so actually
that's crazy.
Just like Gordon B. Hinckley showed up to General Conference once in LA, and then like he wore it for the opening statements, and he was like, all right,
really?
Time to get busy, time to go to work, right? That's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking off my beanie. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is in the Ward Radio merch store already. So if you want to get a beanie, you can check it out. If you want to hold out and wait for the Stripling Boomer shirts, those are coming as well. It's going to be a fun Christmas season. That's all I can say. It's going to be a fun Christmas season. So last of the super chats right here. Stephen Diamond said the process is starting to get to the Temple Rocks to you. Anything else too should go into the package. The Temple Rocks is coming, but I asked when you're... Okay, I believe, Stephen Diamond, you've already reached out to one of our mods and gotten a shipment address for the studio, so I look forward to seeing those. There was a couple of typos in your super chat, though, so I think that's what you're asking. Kyle says, just bought my Meso versus Heart spot. Have an extra $2. Thank you for the super chat, my man. The $2 super chat.
Awesome.
Love it.
Thank you.
Fog Defense says, AKA, they tone police the arguments they don't like. That's true. And I'm sorry, but like tone policing is not the same as stopping violence. Like, violence is violence. Silence isn't violence. Violence is violence. Silence is silence. And sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes it can be conducive to violence, I guess, if you want to start saying that. I don't think that's really the logical conclusion that can be reached in most of these progressive political arguments. But silence is silence and violence is violence. That's why they're two different words. And words do indeed have meaning. And then Jacob Mayberry says, stay tuned for a fire response to Jana Rietz's Nazi article in the Public Square magazine. Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm. Do you read Public Square, Luke? You're a conservative guy. It sounds like
on occasion.
On occasion, you do.
Mm-hmm.
What are the most conservative Mormon publications, bro? As like an insider, dude. Like you're my connection to conservative Mormonism. Like what?
I mean, I guess Public Square.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are they the go-to people?
I mean, there's not really like a politically conservative Mormon publication.
Yeah.
Which is in part why Jacob Hansen is trying to push me to start my own political channel.
Oh, really?
That's like explicitly LDS conservative. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So maybe there will be in the future.
Do you want to be even more hated?
Yes, that's the goal. Yeah. I have too many fans. It's just I can't take it, so I gotta jettison some of them.
You know what's really funny is I say, do you want to be even more hated? But the truth is, it's actually, do you want to be more beloved by young people? Because that is totally something I have noticed ever since I started doing this show, is that whenever I get recognized in public, generally when I'm going up to Utah or something like that, you can always tell. Like there is a dividing line in between these two camps, between the lovers and the haters. And they both sound very similar at the very beginning, all right? So the very first thing that happens is like, oh, are you Cardinellis, right? Or else, they might see Brit in the shadow and recognize her. Because obviously girls get more attention if a girl and a guy are walking next to each other. Of course, the beautiful, tall, slender, gorgeous one gets noticed first. But they'll point right at us and be like, oh, dude, are you Cardinellis? And then I can just tell, Luke. I can literally just tell when this happens, okay? If they are my age and older when they recognize me and they run up, there's a 50-50 chance they're a hater. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're my age and older by like 10 to 15 years, they're probably going to come up. They're probably going to trauma dump on me. They're probably going to say, well, I don't know, or just outright scream in my face. It happened to me once at like Thanksgiving point, just like scream in your face. If they're my age and younger, oh, dude, are you Cardinal? You would rather radio, dude. I watch it with my dad. Can I have a selfie? Oh, my uncle's going to love this. You know what I'm saying? And there's like this lull. So like all the kids younger than me in the bell curve love us. The ones my age and older, it drops and then it spikes. If they're a boomer, if they're like my parents' age, then they love me. They're back to loving me. There's just this dip. There's this like Gen Xer dip, where it's like, that's where all the haters reside. Right. So, anyway, yeah. So, I don't know how we got off on that tangent, but I'm glad you're back because I also noticed that your camera was going in and out there for a little bit.
Yeah, I should have turned my fan on. I thought it was cold enough in here, but apparently it overheated. So
that's
not cold
funny.
enough.
You and Jonah.
That's Texas for you.
Jonah and his bag of ice, we just got to lower your frame rate and then the sensor won't be working so hard.
A bag of ice?
Oh, yeah. Jonah literally uses a bag of ice and he puts a bag of ice on his camera while he's live streaming because it gets so hot that it'll shut down. But sometimes, he doesn't want it to shut down. So anyway, all right. So
I got a little fan and it looks like the tickets are starting to go.
Yeah.
For the debate. So that's going to be December 3rd, Tuesday, right after Thanksgiving. Looks like they're starting at $15 per ticket. And
well, this is what we're doing. We're doing an early bird special here. Okay, we're doing an early bird special. Of course, man, we got to figure out who's debating here. You can't just drop me on that live on a live stream. But we'll talk about it after, Luke.
We had very little time beforehand because you just figured this out like an hour before we went on.
Yeah, I can't believe you backed out. That's weak sauce. But anyway, so here's the deal. We're doing an early bird special. Okay. And anybody that buys these tickets right here, basically while we're live streaming and over the next maybe day or two until, frankly, I change it, okay, is going to get a discounted rate. And then probably sometime around Thanksgiving-ish or whatever, then it's probably going to go up $5. And then finally the last tickets will probably be $25. So right now it looks like they're going for $15. And it's going to be a lot of fun. No matter what it is, it's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, yeah, next subject up, bro. So the BYU professor, we covered it. What else is going on?
Now we are going to Mr. Beat, not Mr. Beast, but Mr. Beat.
Yeah, so are you talking about this cat right here? All right, Mr. Beast. Not be, man, I'm going to be doing that all day. So this guy right here, I've never heard him before. Who is he, and has he gone anti-Mormon? Because there's been a lot of chatter about his video, Why Are Mormons? Which seems like some kind of cute play on words. But from what I sense from the chatter, people have said it was kind of like a little bit of a historical hit piece on the church. And this guy is no small deal. I'm looking at him. I've never heard of him personally, but he's got 1.14 million subs, at least at time of this broadcast. Fill us in, man. What's going on here?
Yeah, so his expertise, and it was kind of a coincidence because I only just heard of him about 3 weeks ago during the election period. And he does a lot of like presidential election history stuff. So like, what were the closest elections, and what were the craziest October surprises, and which president served the median amount out of all the presidents, and all this different stuff about presidential election history. And I got the vibe that he was kind of like a lefty Trump supporters are idiots. People who think the Electoral College is cool are just dumb.
Okay.
Sort of that type of thing, but at the same time, pretty informational. After the election, didn't really watch it that much anymore. And then in the inbox for Ward Radio, we do read them, at least some of them, the emails that you guys send to us from the website.
Okay.
I got a suggestion that you got to watch this, put out a video, kind of Johnny Harris inspired, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So I have 3 timestamps. And we're not going to go through the whole thing. We're going to kind of just point out a couple of things that he does here. It's mostly the normal treatment, which is history of Mormon Church. To his credit, he does go through Brigham Young and kind of give you an overview of the whole picture. Uses a lot of South Park clips. I think that's where half of his research came from.
Okay.
For example, his story of the 160 pages, he just played that portion from South Park. And in the South Park version, Martin Harris's wife hides them and tells Martin Harris that she's doing it so that Martin Harris can go back, and if Joseph Smith was really a prophet, he'd be able to do it again. That's just like a made up event, but I don't know. I guess that's the kind of history that you can get away with if you're talking about the Mormons. If it's presidential history, then you got to like have all your ducks in a row. If it's the Mormons, you just play the South Park video, move on, no problem. So I'm just pulling up 3 parts where he gets stuff wrong. And then he makes in the third part, he'll make a pretty big claim, and we'll wrap up with that.
Okay, cool. So where am I going?
So here's where Mr. Beat went wrong. So in the Discord, and the comments, I forgot. He's active in the comments section, and that's where his kind of true colors come out about his approach here.
Okay, well, just tell me the timestamp.
Danny Gray shows up in his comments and does a little back and forth with Mr. Beat.
Danny Gray.
Yep.
Represent.
So in the Discord, you'll see I linked to the same video 4 times. The first one's just the video. The second one is the first timestamp, second timestamp, third timestamp.
Okay, so here we go. Why Are Mormons by Mr. Beat. Go.
Before we get into it, this video is once again sponsored by Ground News. Ground News has been a constant sponsor of mine.
First one?
Yeah, that was the first one. Ended up being a commercial.
So the second one. The first one's just the full video. So the second one's the timestamp.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wow, dude, like that's really good. That's the best marketing out there. If we go straight into a commercial. Okay, so here we go. Mr. Beat, go. Speaking of ads, the next one ended up being an ad too, but this is just a YouTube ad. So here we go.
Oh, never mind. That was just my stomach growling. Anyway, Smith said God told him that only 3 dudes would know firsthand about the existence of the golden plates. David Whitmer, the aforementioned Oliver Cowdery, and Martin Harris, obviously. I mean, the guy has money. They'd be known as the 3 Musketeers. The 3 witnesses.
You could make a religion out of this. You can make a religion out of this. You can make a religion out of this. You could make a religion out of this.
Huh.
So it's that very
Smith, who many already viewed as a...
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, we kind of see where this is going. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
It's just not true. There was not only 3 people that got to verify the existence of the plates or whatever it was he said. There was 3 that saw an angel and then there were an entire 8 others that saw it, and then there were also additional people like Josiah Stoll, who swore in an affidavit in court that he saw the plates when the corner of the cloth lifted up the night that Joseph Smith brought them through the door, and that they were kind of a shiny metallic green color.
Wow. And you can just see by this graphic here, oh, hey, you could make a religion out of this. Oh, you just got to mix fanaticism with a couple of rubes and dupes. And again, it's that anti-Mormon trope that you're just stupid if you believe. It's the old atheism 2.0. You're dumb if you're a believer. And only exploitative men end up being religious leaders because they're trying to exploit the silly and the stupid. And you can make a religion out of that. You can tell by the tone of voice that that's where he's going. But this is what I don't get. Why is he coming after Mormons if the guy's in some kind, like what's his axe to grind? He's not an anti-religious channel.
He's an American history dude, and this is American history, and the Johnny Harris video did really well 8 months ago, a year ago, I guess, now that it came out.
Really?
So, I mean, I'm not trying to get into his psychology like the way he gets into Joseph Smith's psychology.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it'll definitely get views, and it's kind of in that American history vein. So, and it works well with the sarcasm that he likes to bring to videos. So why not? You know?
Okay.
And the reason why we don't do like a whole debunking video like we did with Wise Disciple, where I pull out all the references and analyze it a ton, is because he's coming from the atheist worldview. And so it's just any sort of belief in a higher power, objective morality, all that kind of stuff, they just mock it and dismiss it anyway. So there's not that much there to criticize or to work with. If you got something like Wise Disciple, where they're actually coming from that perspective of belief in God and belief in Christ, that's when things get interesting. This is just kind of like, yeah, you got that wrong, you got that wrong, you got that wrong, move on to the next thing.
Wow. So what's kind of funny is actually I just started cruising through the comments here.
I pulled up, I think 4.
Oh, you did?
Diamonds from the comments. But we can just hit the next 2 videos.
Okay, we'll hit the next 2 clips. We'll hit the next 2 clips right here.
Fast. They're just...
Okay, so here's the next 2 clips right here. Why are Mormons? Clip number 2. Go.
Early Mormon history. Take it from there to the early Joseph years. Bring it all the way to Utah.
There's no way to sugarcoat this. Joseph Smith was basically a con artist. And anyone who says otherwise is trying to whitewash history. Before his untimely...
Oh.
Okay. Yep.
Well, I say otherwise, and I'm not whitewashing history. I guarantee you I know more about my ancestors' history than the guy with the bowl cut does. You know, but all right. Let's keep going.
That was the end of the video. Was there one before that?
Oh, did I get these clips out of order?
Maybe. Doesn't really matter though.
Okay,
but it is just kind of like this, hey, I'm just like the history dude that's just like telling you history. By the way, this guy was obviously a con man, and you're an idiot if you say otherwise.
Okay.
Like, I'm the objective one that is not coming with a worldview, but because you have a worldview that you want to defend, that makes you a bad person, or like not able to know right from wrong or facts.
So I get
it's
his
kind of tired. It's old.
I get the snark. Yeah, you're right. It's tired and old, and I could get why he might want to make it. Hey, you know, as a YouTuber, sometimes you got to come up with something that week. It's been a while since you posted a video. You got to hankering to export something. Okay, like I get it. Okay. But the thing is, like, Johnny Harris's video didn't do insanely well. It did like a third of what some of his other, like, it's not, ragging on Mormons is not a popular topic. Like, it
takes a lot less research. Like, he didn't even put the 8 witnesses in here and said that only 3 people got to see the Book of Mormon. But, you know, I didn't put this in here, but he said that Joseph Smith's dad made the moolah, and he like went like that with a cha-ching sound off of treasure hunting, and he said basically being a wizard with like over footage, and it's a voiceover footage of like people carrying a chest full of gold.
Okay.
So that's like, no, he was a farmer and was like full-time a farmer, and then
like subsistence farming for their existence, dude.
Yeah, and sometimes he did the treasure hunting stuff that wasn't that uncommon.
As a day laborer.
Run away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
but
so I had a job
as like, yeah, they moved to this new place so he could like be a wizard and get tons of money.
I had
like,
a job
conning
at
people
Six
out.
Flags Magic Mountain. If I start a religion, it's not because I'm some carnival entertainer. I had a summer job as a 16-year-old. Like, let's freaking get real, dude. So, all right, okay, we're gonna keep going here. Here's
This mountain rage back here is
here's the last clip that you put in the Discord here. Hopefully, I don't get it wrong, but here it is.
basically the end of the Rocky Mountains. And to come out of the canyon and be so exhausted, probably came out here and said, you know what, this has got to be the place. I can't continue doing this. There's a big lake over there. Is it the Pacific Ocean? Oh, it's not the Pacific Ocean? Well, let's just say it is. This is the end. Okay, this is the...
Okay, I get the kind of, if that were a comedy stand-up routine, I think that would be a little bit funnier. Brigham Young never claimed to have mistaken the Great Salt Lake for the Pacific Ocean, did he?
Yeah, so and once again, like humor, and I get humor, it's kind of overly sarcastic for my tastes, but you know, you bag on the Mormons, everybody does it, whatever.
Yeah.
But to go in this video that's like, I'm the history dude and I make historical videos that are giving people the facts. Like his sponsor was Ground News, which is like, hey, people who just want the factual information. And then he puts in basically like a comedy skit of the reason why it was Salt Lake without, and he doesn't go back and say, JK, they already had maps.
Like Brigham
and that was
Young,
where they were planning to go.
It's just so it prays, it's unintelligent. Like I actually liked the last Scream movie because they talked about intelligent horror. Like, you know, actually having horror movies that had good plots and characters with depth and so on and so forth. When you study the Western expansion of Brigham Young, like this was not a guy who was doing guesswork. This was freaking like a mountaineer psychopath dragging tens of thousands of people in one of the largest migrations that humankind has seen since like the Exodus. All right. I mean, it's massive. On foot, he traveled from what, like British Columbia down to like Utah to like the end of the corner of the state of Deseret, California, then the border of Mexico. Like he founded more cities, more miniature nation states than I swear Alexander the Great did. You know, like this is not a dude who was like, are we to the ocean yet? Like this is a guy who's staring at the sun and telling you what time it was, you know, like it's just, I want it to be funny. I was a stand-up comedian. I want to laugh with you when you're doing fun, you know, cool videos online and stuff like this. But when you say things just so like woefully ignorant of the actual historical truth, I don't know, maybe I'm just too in the know of the real history that it's no longer funny, but good comedy actually becomes more funny the more you know the history, and less funny the more ignorant it is. And this just seems really ignorant.
Like the Monty Python sketch about the Treaty of Westphalia. Like if you don't know that history, it's kind of like, okay, they make like funny quips, but I don't get what's going on. And then when you know, like,
well, speaking of Monty Python,
all the different countries are, it just makes it way more funnier.
You know, it wasn't the
this
life
is definitely the first thing. It's for the people who don't know anything about it to like be entertained by it.
Yeah, now it's not the life of Brian. What's the other one where he's putting coconuts together as he's singing the bard, and it's the medieval one. It's about the Knights of the Round Table.
No, that one's just Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
We don't have a king.
Yeah, it's like, but we have a bicameral legislation that meets every once a year. I don't recall voting for you in ranked choice anything. You know, like
help! I'm being oppressed.
So like that is funny. That's funny. Like the more you actually understand political science, the more that sketch actually makes sense and becomes humorous.
I've got a good one, Cardin. Dallas Jenkins just did a BYU devotional.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Okay.
And to start off with it, he explained how he's very grateful to the Latter-day Saints for letting him film in Goshen, and then explained how they filmed the other 2/3 of the show in a set in Texas, which works out great because half the people in Texas think Jesus lived there anyway. Okay. So, you know, that's pretty funny. Nice Texas evangelical joke. And then he said, now don't worry about looking it up. I know some of you are flipping to Mosiah to be like, well, maybe he did go to Texas.
The Heartlanders. The Heartlanders. Oh, I love it. That's funny. That's funny.
We need to start like the San Antonio, Texas. the river here can be the River Sidon. Be great.
Oh, you mean the San Antonio, Texas model? The best I've seen is the Hollywood.
I'll start that.
Is Kwaku wanted to start the Hollywood, California model. I've heard that there are some big time Baja California-ists now, and we're gonna have to be covering some of their theories. And yeah, everything from Jaredites in Seattle down to straight up Ensenada. I'm loving it. I'm loving every inch of it, and I'm here for it. So, okay, cool. I mean, we're already into overtime, man.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go through.
Do we have any
Wait,
more
we're just
clips?
at an hour, aren't we?
Yeah.
No, we just got some of the comments, some of the fun that was going on in the comments here.
All right, let's hit it. Hit it. What's going on in the comments, man? What's going on in the comments?
Whatever one you want to start with. It's just below the clips to the video that I put in.
Very first one right here. So here's the very first comment, and I'm going to inflate it so everybody else can see it at home. Says, I love being told. Why don't you read that one?
I love being told what I believe by somebody who doesn't believe it without any opposition. Nice. And Mr. Beat came into the replies and said, this video wasn't about beliefs. It was about history.
Oh, yes.
And it's one of those things where you're so sarcastic with everything you say that I don't know if he was being sarcastic or if he actually took this video that seriously. I'm like having a hard time with that one. But apparently at least he claims that his video is just purely factual.
This sounds like what an anti-Semite professor at the University of Berlin would say in like 1937 when he told the class to read Mein Kampf because the Fuhrer has recommended it. If like some Jewish guy came up and was like, actually, my family doesn't run the world and we're not bankers and we're actually just humble bread makers that are trying to do our best in Dresden. And you're like, well, dude, look, hey, the book's just about history. Like you can have a problem with all of the anti-Semitism, but it's just, it's just all about history. So this video wasn't about beliefs. It was about history. Yeah. You literally said we could start a religion with that and then end the video saying he was a con man and Obviously, and anybody that wants to argue with it is stupid whitewashing history. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So
I think the next one is Danny Gray.
The next
sliding
one is
into the
Danny
comments.
Gray. What a Chad. I don't know what he said yet, but I know he's a Chad. So Danny Gray says the following. You can read it, my man. You can read it.
Danny Gray says, no, there aren't different versions of Smith retrieving the records. As a quote-unquote history channel, you'd think you'd get that right. And Mr. Beat replies, yes, there are.
Of course
Danny
there
Gray
are.
replies, of course there are. Danny A. Gray replies, are you confusing the supposed different accounts with the first vision accounts? It certainly seems like you are. No reply from Mr. Beat.
Huh.
The thing is, like, different versions of the account.
Huh.
Does that mean you're accusing them of telling the same story to two different people, and they included different details when they told it? Is that what you mean by two different versions of an account?
Wow. I had an assistant at FM 98.1 and AM 1220 who said, like, we really need to bring gatekeeping back. Like his beef was like, because like I'm an anti-gatekeeper, right? And I think it's the gatekeepers of our society that have made everything go sour. But then he's like, no, I want some gatekeeping back. He's like, people say way too much stupid stuff online, and it's amazing. You can literally have 1.14 million subscribers and just come out and say, oh, like, Joseph Smith was just a charlatan that was trying to exploit people and was a con man. And yeah, the 16 million baptized members, they just missed that obvious detail. And it's so obvious that you don't even have to respond to inquiry. You can just say, oh no, of course it was. And then go silent. And there's no repercussion. There's no, like these people never suffer any consequence for all of just like the negativity and the bad history and the pseudo history that they inject into our society because we're not sensitive to anti-Mormonism yet in a way that we're sensitive to anti-Islamic or anti-Semitic rhetoric like this. But here's the proof that I Am Mr. Beast is really just engaging in silly, stupid anti-Mormonism and a pseudo-historical hit job. Do Jews next, Mr. Beat. Do Jews. No, seriously. Like, I would like to hear your takedown of Jews. And then when you
Muslims.
or Muslims. And then
I could see him doing Muslims, though. He comes across as more of a new atheist type.
No, they're all cowards. Oh, like Krakauer that wrote the entire book Under the Banner of Heaven because he was pissed at the 9/11 terrorist attacks, but didn't have the stones to go after Islam, so he ended up going after Mormonism because they know
I haven't heard that before.
Oh yeah, that's one of the apocryphal stories that has got to be true, right? No, they're all cowards. They never want to go after Islam. And then when all of a sudden their society gets crappy, they start saying, "Well, I've always said I've been a cultural Christian, and I've always wanted to be. I prefer to live in a Christian nation where the people do all of the work for me." It's I don't know. It's sad and it's pathetic. But all right, let's keep going. Next comment here is good job, Danny Gray, man. Good to see him. Okay, so Glenn Hood, as a former member of the LDS Church. Oh, so we had an ex-Mormon enter the chat here, huh? Let's see. Did they hate on us or did they? No,
they say what they always say. Whenever it's critical, it's like, this is an incredibly balanced and nuanced take on the church.
Yeah.
They said, this is the most well-balanced telling of the church history, including viewpoint outside and within the church. To be fair, he did cover a lot of like the persecutions and killing and Joseph Smith getting tarred and feathered. So to be fair, he did cover that in the video.
Okay.
Very well done and well-researched, despite the fact that you missed 10 of the witnesses of the Book of Mormon, but whatever. One of the things that drives me crazy in today's standards is how far right-wing so many members of the church are. When even as you stated in the video, even just briefly, communism was one of the goals of the early church. Everybody chipped in to make sure everybody was taken care of and had their basic needs met. That was often one of the excuses used for polygamy. When a husband died, another elder of the church would be called upon to take the widow and his wife to make sure she and the children were taken care of. So far right wingers are ruining everything, including the church. And did you know that the early church practiced communism? Because voluntary donation of your goods for the building of Zion is totally the same as government enforcement of economic equality.
Yeah, the Holodomor.
Exactly
we could all
the
see the
same
Church
thing.
of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints pulling off the mass starvation of the Ukraine in the 30s that Stalin did. Yeah, those are totally the same thing, man. All right.
But Mr. Beat popped into that comment too.
Oh, what did he say?
He
I missed that.
And he said, "Thank you. I think the far right stuff reflects the more mainstream culture of the United States currently, sadly. Thank you for the kind comments." Oh, God. So those darn far right wingers just messing up everything, man. Why can't we have nice things?
What? Dude. When somebody says that, in my mind, they're just so automatically discredited as a person with actual experience. Like, I've been in countries where if you take a photo of the wealthy person or the governor's house and the police catch you, you disappear. You're gone. You're done. It's a hard and fast rule. And there's no civil rights for you. You're not a citizen that matters. This is dictator X's property. This is King Y's property. This is mafioso Z's property. He's king of this castle and of this domain, and you've offended him. So off with your head. And it's arbitrary enforcement at best, not codified civil rights guaranteed by a constitution that has withstood 250 years of, democratically elected Republican leadership in the largest deliberative body in North America, aka the American Congress. No, there's no suing the government. You piss off the government, they burn your house down. And what are you going to do? Nothing, because you can't do anything. So if we were really this far-right fascist dictatorship, how many anti-governmental and anti-Italian far-right fascist newspapers were there in actually fascist Italy? None, because you'd get dragged out into the street, your press would get burned, and that your family would get slaughtered. Like the fact that you can even just go out in public commenting on people you do not know's thread saying, yes, you're right, they're all a bunch of fascists, shows that they're actually not, because freedom of speech is not a tenet of fascism. If you really actually feared some wild far-right government that uses censorship and coercion and violence and bigotry to enforce its dogma, you would be so fearful of the violence that you wouldn't just comment on some unknown person. This could be some secret policeman. This could be some,
it's true.
Like one of my buddies that came to Australia, he said he came here for college. And he said his mind was blown at how much people complained about America that were Americans. And he said he was on the subway and he was going to Colombia once. And it was after Bush had got elected the second time. And this girl was crying on the subway and she was like, I just don't know if I can feel safe in my own country anymore. Cause the left started teaching people in the early 2000s to, that not feeling safe was the ultimate leverage to try and get people to vote your way. Right. And, he's like, oh, I just fear my government. I just fear my government, and she was like, kind of basically hollering at him. And he just said, the reason why I know that's not true is because if you really feared your government, you wouldn't be like saying it out loud. You'd be quietly trying to get by without getting noticed. And the fact that we can just be so vocal about this online, it kind of automatically disproves itself. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know what to do with these people sometimes. I don't know what to do with them. All right. So last comment,
the last
right?
one's basically along the same lines. Somebody said Joseph Smith sounds like the type of guy to win president of the United States in the year 2024. And
Ooh.
I, Mr. Beat, commented and said he'd thrive in the misinformation age that we currently live in. All that misinformation, all that free speech that Elon Musk is allowing on X, it's just so terrible. And people would have liked Joseph Smith nowadays, and that's just awful. And woe is me for living in
By the way,
America in
did you
2024.
notice this middle commenter, Gustavo Adolphus,
Yeah.
6097?
Well, they were kind of funny.
He said both men are great. I agree. Oh, that is
One, the guy
funny.
above that said, bro, if only.
That was super based and super funny. I love it. I saw this meme today that it said like women when they're radicalized, and it showed a bunch of blue hair crazy feminists screaming into their iPhones and doing the whole woke, liberal yelling at the sky thing. And it said men when they are radicalized by the right. And it showed like dads holding infants, getting married with a wife and children.
That was from Jacob Hansen, wasn't it? That he said to us today.
I don't know who it was
I
from.
think it was. He said that same one today or yesterday.
Oh,
one of those days.
That is so funny. So anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Do you think it's just anti-religious, or do you think it's anti-Mormon? Animus here, my man.
Oh, it's anti-religious. It's kind of antiquated belief system.
Wow.
Because he's also done stuff like going after the Electoral College, and like the Electoral College is so dumb, and the Founding Fathers made this whole stupid system.
And you say he's
we
a
should just
lefty?
have direct vote.
He's like, dude, I do not understand. Like, I do not. Like, this is why I don't want to say they're stupid, because I don't think it's an intelligence thing, but I don't know if it's just groupthink or pride or what. But can they do math? Do they know how much of an electoral bloodbath it would be against them and liberals and progressives if we got rid of the Electoral College? Like, there are more conservatives in California, I think, than like Texas, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, and like there's more conservatives in California than there are in like the surrounding 5 or 6 states, including Texas. And, it's a joke in California that if you're conservative, quote, your vote doesn't matter because, for the past 40 years, we've always gone blue. Conservatives will show up for state ballot measures, and they'll vote against local taxes. They'll vote for their school board, and they'll vote for local elections and everything. But by and large, federal politics is not as much on their radar because they think, well, the urban centers outweigh our votes, sometimes 60-40, 70-30. So it's not worth it to vote. And I disagree with this. I think you should vote no matter what, especially in free and fair elections. If not, just as your protest. That's what does Charlie Kirk call it? Your one move in a game with multiple players of chess. That vote is just your one move. Even if you just push a pawn, you've participated in the game, and I feel a moral obligation to do so. But if we all of a sudden just went to just a direct vote where instead of winner take all 55 electoral votes you get for California, is it 55 or 35? Help me out, Luke. Which is it?
California was 55 at one point, but I think it's dropped down to 53.
I was going to say, I think we lost 2 because of how many move outs we had. So it's 53. So right now, if there's a 51-49 split between Democrats and Republicans, who takes all 53 of our electoral votes? The Democrats. And that's a huge boost that they get in the electoral politics of the Electoral College. If we just started splitting it down the middle and abolish the Electoral College like they've called to before, 27 of those 55 votes, 30 of those 55 votes would go to whoever the Republican candidate is. And all of a sudden, California would be a source of major conservative votership. It's not like, it's a giant state. Like, look at the map. Like, there's basically there's 3 blue dots on the map. There's most of Los Angeles, most of San Francisco, most of Sacramento. Everything else, including other major cities all throughout Orange County and San Diego.
Where I grew up.
Yeah, where you grew up is the most conservative district in America is in California. The most liberal district in America is in California. I think it's McCarthy's district in Kern County, I think, is the most conservative. It's like 73 to 26, like Republican, Democrat. It's something vicious and brutal because they're all farmers and agricultural people up there, right? And then
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, it borders like North LA County where the rich woke skulled awfuls are, and then and LA County, of course, has some of the most liberal districts. So literally within a 50 to 120 minute drive, you've got the most conservative district and the most liberal district all in California. If you all of a sudden freed up all those conservative votes so that now 27 of the electoral votes went one direction, and then 28, actually that's bad math because 27 plus 27 is 54. But let's just say if all of a sudden 22 of those electoral votes went to the Republicans instead of just being gobbled up in the winner take all that the Democrats got, do you realize the advantage that conservatives would have nationwide? Because the number of electoral votes that the conservatives would gain from traditionally blue states is far greater than the number of blue votes that the Democrats would gain from traditionally red states. So it would be a perpetual bloodbath for the conservative party for the rest, for all time. Like it would seal the deal and make it so we couldn't elect the Bill Clintons of this world again. We couldn't elect the Barack Obamas again.
It would be hard to know like how that would work out, because then some people might say, well, the people in Texas would be mobilized to vote, or in Utah would be mobilized to vote.
Yeah, but do the math.
Now their vote counts.
We have more conservatives than 3 Texases.
Yeah. I'm not trying to do like a whole electoral college segment right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I just gave it as an example.
Yeah, okay.
But while we're on the topic, the problem is that everything would get pulled to like mostly the urban centers, because right now the complaint is, well, it only focuses on this handful of states and everybody else gets left in the dust. Well, no, like a person trying to be elected president can't disenfranchise the locked down, the non-swing states in his appeal to the swing states. So those other states still matter, but also it spreads out who he's trying to appeal to. So he's trying to get the people in, what's a big city in a swing state? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But he's also trying to get the rural people in Northern Carolina. And so it forces you to kind of spread out among the different classes and types of people in America to try and appeal to them all, because you're just scrambling for every last vote in those swing states to try to get you over the line. If you switch to a direct vote, then a candidate could just focus on the big metropolitan areas. You lock down New York to DC, you slide over and lock down Sacramento, down the coast, down to Los Angeles, and then the rest of the middle who happens to vote for you will put you over the middle of the line. And you can just completely ignore like all the farmers, all the factory workers, all the people that live in a town under 50,000 people. And that doesn't seem like a helpful way to do politics, and won't represent the interest of America, the United States of America, as well as something like the Electoral College. So that's my little rant that I was not anticipating doing.
Yeah.
The Electoral College.
No, dude,
But
it was
to bring
awesome. It
back
was good, bro.
To bring it back to Mr. Beat, once again, just this critique of everything, I think you have to be really careful, because this is not like a left-wing. The more left-wing people probably are not very happy with us for this podcast, because it was a pretty like a MAGA, I guess you could say, live stream.
Sure.
But it's apropos because we're having a Heartland debate. So, you got to get a little MAGA-y when you do that.
One of my buddies asked to go to their what I thought about their when he was going to speak at their conference, and I said, all I can say is I think those dudes all have more than one Ronald Reagan T-shirt in their closet, man.
You got the backup for what the other one wears.
They got
out.
a backup for the other one wears.
Yeah,
out.
and
Yeah.
I like that. I don't disdain those kind of people.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
partly one of those people.
They're
and
awesome,
so I'm the
baby.
I'm the olive branch between the Meso and the Heartland models here. But you got to be careful, both on the left and the right, when you get like too cynical and everything's jokes and everything's criticism and everything's sarcasm, because then you're not standing for something. It's just like tearing down everything instead of actually building a community, building a worldview that's going to help you and those around you move forward in the world and progress society to where we want it to go.
Yeah,
religious
totally.
or not religious.
All right, so I'm going to catch up on the last of our super chats here, and then unfortunately we're coming up on overtime. We're already into overtime here. We're going to have to shut her down in a second. Rachel Hudson says, thanks to the anti-peeps, I converted. LOL. Do your homework. It took 5 years, but I'll never look back and have no regrets. Oh, that's interesting. That's good to hear, Rachel. And then Fog Defense brings up, he's like, yeah, you could easily say the Jews and their lies is factual because Martin Luther wrote it. Like, just like that's, when Mr. B just wants to say, well, of course he was a con man. And of course all these anti-Mormon tropes are true. It's history. Like what's keeping the Protestants in the 16th century from saying, well, Martin Luther's book, that's just science, it's facts, it's just history too. All right, then Liberty Lady 208 says, I am Gen X that loves Ward Radio, and we love you. Liberty Lady, we love you. You are awesome, and you're one of the ones. You're one of that 50% that when you come up, you're nice and you're happy to see me. Bridger Butler says, Mr. Beat claims to be neutral, but his political bias shows in almost every video. Also, new sub love that you guys throw punches, unlike some channels. Oh, do we throw punches, Luke? We laugh at antis a lot, and that must feel like a gut punch if you're used to being lauded and bowed to, and you're used to preferential treatment, and the second you get challenged, all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're persecuting me. But yeah, today's video was hilarious. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, guys, go back and watch today's video that me and Luke recorded earlier. There's this new authorship theory that...
Well, apparently it's already dead now.
Yeah, but,
it had a very short lifespan.
Was that opening line not hilarious, though? Like, on the back cover of the book, what was the phrase? If you don't have...
The intro. If you are a true believing Mormon, a.k.a. TBM... do not read this book unless you have a support system, because you might self-terminate after finding the truth revealed therein.
Yeah, don't read this book. Like, it's... Oh, dude, it just amazes me. Sometimes you meet these these people that have gone like this anti-Mormon route, and let's be like, well, I'm glad it works for you. I just found out too much. I just knew too much, and I don't want to hurt you. Like, I don't want to tell you this wealth of information that I learned, because I see it's like working for you, and the little people matter too, and you're a little person but I got a big brain, and my big brain read like 3 pages of an online PDF, and now I can never look back. It's just like, bruh, there are people so much smarter than you, so much more learned than you, that have such better testimonies of the gospel of Jesus. Like, bro, you do not.
He had a sad story. I linked to the full Washington Post article.
Yeah.
But so his brother comes to him with the Ensign Peak information. It's like, dude, I don't know what to do with this. So his brother is still a TBM. And then this guy has left the church and is already being anti in like the comment section on Reddit everywhere, which he admits to. I'm not like pinning that on him. And so his brother comes to him with all this information, and they put together the like whistleblower report. And then the twin, who is still in the church working at Ensign Peak, doesn't want to put it out. And so this guy, Lars Nielsen, goes behind his back without his permission to publish this, to get the truth out there to the people. And his brother and him are not on speaking terms. The brother wouldn't respond to requests for comment for the story that Washington Post put out, other than to say that his twin does not speak on his behalf.
Jeez,
so it just like completely burned the relationship with his brother. And then the same Washington Post article says that they looked at his divorce filings, which I'm like, would he had to have given that to them as part of the story? Like, for them to have access to that? I don't know how this works. And it says that in the divorce filings with his wife, he cited her continued belief and practice in a religion that he believes is harmful to people.
Jeez. All right. Last 3 super chats.
It's so sad. I'm not trying to like, haha, look at these anti-Mormons. Like, it's sad, and you gotta kind of take stock of that. I'm not saying that they're all like that. Everybody's like this, but I think it should just make you pause and kind of, what is this thing? What am I getting into if I'm going into that world?
Okay. All right. Last couple of super chats here. Fog Defense says, they tone please. Already got that one. Sorry. Fidget the Crazy. Fidget says, oh, by the way, Fidget the Crazy just made some super cool artwork. I'm trying to do way too many shirts at once. And I already spent way too much money on my credit card getting the merch for Black Friday. If I can get this one out for Cyber Monday, I will. But she just made a really fun shirt where Joseph Smith was in the same color as Barack Obama in his famous change picture. And I'm making the graphics for the side to say like 1844 election, like change, but instead of saying change, I think it says, I don't remember. We're going to work on it, but it's really funny. So
you need to make the Smith-Rigdon shirts as well, the ones that look like the Reagan-Bush ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead
that's where we're going.
84, it's 44.
Yeah, exactly. So Fidget the Crazy says, I met a fan at Zion National Park after our mod live stream once because I was wearing my merch that day. That was cool. Awesome. We should start having some kind of merch day where just people just wear your merch out in public, and let's see if we can spot each other. You know, kind of like game day when the football team would have to wear their game day shirts.
Spirit Day.
Yeah, Spirit Day. I was in I was on the volleyball team, and on game days we had to wear our volleyball uniforms to school. But it wasn't the uniforms. We like had a dress casual shirt that we had to wear with decent pair of pants, and it was the outfit you had to wear on game day. And then we also had these cool Hawaiian shirt versions that we had to wear because that's like a SoCal thing. For volleyball teams, they all get like Hawaiian versions of their uniforms and stuff. But anyway, we had to wear those so you could tell who else was other players on other sports teams based off of their game day outfits. It was kind of fun. We should do that. We should have some kind of like game day outfit day for Ward Radio people. But Fog Defense says, gave a Ward Radio shout out to Elder Haney, our area president. Whoa, Elder Haney, how you doing? At state conference yesterday. Sweet. Fog Defense giving Ward Radio shout outs. I love it. And Stephen Diamond says, the second part of the first super chat was reporting that the Temple Rocks were asking when you're going to come out here as I send out a rock. Oh, We're working on it, man. We're working on it. I got to get through this Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But we are indeed working on it. I got some really cool stuff to do with history on the East Coast. And I can't give it away now, but it's close enough to Pittsburgh that I think we could swing by. So, yeah, we're working on it. Mary Nawata. Yes.
I need to announce that this other thing that I'm working on.
Oh, well, hit it.
I completely forgot about.
Say it before I get my super chats, bro. Say it.
I was too busy with the debate stuff.
Yeah.
I want to get together a group of people to go to the March for Life in Washington, D.C. on January 24th.
Oh, wow.
And so if there are people out there who have the means and the time to go out there, because the thing is, I was there last year. There are thousands, tens of thousands of people that meet in the Capitol and stand for the life of the unborn, completely in line with the church's position, by the way. And the church encourages people to participate in the political process of making abortion illegal. And I saw this St. Petersburg parish for life, the Tampa, Florida parish for life, the Sacramento, California parish for life, such and such Catholic university for life. So many Catholics, nuns, priests, and then even a couple like this Baptist congregation from Colorado for life, this Presbyterians from Texas for life. Zero Latter-day Saints. I didn't see any missionaries marching, no banners saying Latter-day Saints, nothing. And I find that sad and somewhat unacceptable. And so I've had a dream ever since I went there a year ago to have some people out there, big banner saying Latter-day Saints for life. I've talked to the Latter-day Saints Life organization that they're on board with this. We can like get a big banner that has their logo on it and just like go out there and take part in this movement, but also the conversation, because it will be showing other Latter-day Saints that it's okay to be involved with this, but it will also be out there showing Catholics and all those other people that, hey, we're also serious about this. Don't leave us out. Because sometimes they like to diss on us, like not being serious about it. So if anybody hears this and would be interested in wanting to do that, just like shoot an email to the contact. And I want to get together a list. If we can get like 30, we only need like 30 people or so to go out there. And I've already got like 15 that would do it, friends in DC and stuff. Then I think we can make it happen. It'll be really cool.
Okay.
All right,
So last couple of super chats here. Rachel Hudson says, thanks to the anti-peeps, I converted. LOL, do your homework. Took 5 years, but I'll never look back. I have no regrets. I think I read that one. Thanks again, though, Rachel. Mike Bell says, when I joined the church, my dad was pissed because he grew up in the Bighorn Basin and saw lots of slack LDS. He said if I ever did the same stuff he saw, he'd disown me. That was a powerful reason to stay the course. Where's the Bighorn Basin? Is that somewhere in Utah, my man?
Where is the Bighorn Basin?
Well, geez, now I got to look it up, dude. Yeah, the Bighorn Basin. Okay, so hold on. I know there's Little Bighorn.
Central Wyoming and a small portion of South Central Montana.
South Central Montana, not South Central LA. South Central Montana. Satellite image of the Bighorn Basin in Wyoming, with the bordering ranges labeled. Okay, this actually looks kind of cool. Map of the Bighorn. I wonder why it's called the Bighorn. Like, do you have Arrowhead Water where you live?
It says basin is drained by Bighorn River.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is cool. So yeah, I'm looking it up right here, and yeah, this is a big one, bro. Like, holy smoke, they're not lying. It's a big fatty old basin. And look, right here, I'm zooming out. Boom, right there, yeah, on the border of Montana and Wyoming, kind of, I guess, east of Yellowstone, right? So, wow. Okay, cool. Rock on. Well, shout out to Bighorn Basin. I didn't realize there was a lot of Jack Mormons out there, but rock on. I guess there was a bunch, and your dad didn't like them.
I didn't know there was much of anybody out there.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, wow, okay, cool. And then Angela Lewis says, the Book of Mormon is Cthulhu. Okay, I have not yet read H.P. Lovecraft's, what is it, The Return of Cthulhu? Or
I think there were several.
Yeah,
books.
Exactly. So I understand that's an H.P. Lovecraft reference, but I am not literary enough to completely understand the width and breadth of that reference. But, Angela, I will say
that goes to prove the point that comedy's funnier when you know you have more background info.
That's true.
That's intelligent comedy.
I am convinced that Angela Lewis is the smartest woman in the room right now, though. So you go, Angela, and thank you very much for the super chat. So other than that, I think we got all of the super chats out of the way. We covered the BYU professor, who's all of a sudden getting some pushback and mistaking that for persecution, as well as, unfortunately, Mr. Beat, who I think did an amazing job labeling his channel. Think how many kids have typed in looking for Mr. Beast and accidentally dropped the S, or it's auto-corrected to Mr. Beat, and just think how many hits and views that he's gotten. Like, when did he name his channel? If he didn't...
I don't know, but he has 1.1 million subscribers now, so he did something right.
That is awesome. And shout out to everybody that super chatted. Steven, Anvil, Stripling, Boomer, we got a shirt coming for you. Jacob, Fog Defense, Fidget the Crazy, Mary, Bridger, Grubby, Limited Lady, Rachel, and Mike. Oh, and Angela, thank you so much for contributing today. Don't forget to purchase your tickets at wardradio.com. If you want to support the channel, please make sure that you, if you're a person of means, you contribute on Venmo, or you can also contribute on Zelle. And if you guys want, you can purchase in the Ward Radio merch store some War in Heaven veteran hats. There's going to be, there's several left here. They're going to be gone, I think, by Cyber Monday. So I might have to order another shipment of those in, but please consider supporting the channel that way. And guess what? Shout out to Jim. Jim bought our first beanie. I saw that order come in. First beanie.
Nice.
Purchased by Jim. So shout out Jim in Utah, my man. Yeah,
I saw
what'd you
somebody say we didn't read their chat. Where did that go?
We didn't
Mary
read their
Natua,
chat?
y'all didn't read my chat.
Oh, man.
If you're still there.
Where's Mary Natua? Wait, she said.
If you're still there, just
here it is. You know what? I read it, but then I didn't read it out loud because I try and read them really fast to make sure there's no like swear words or anti-Mormons get me to say something stupid online. But you're right. Mary Nawata, I apologize. Unauta. I don't know how to pronounce it. I probably just butchered your name. Don't judge me. Mary says, I have followed Mr. Beat for years and was so disappointed when I saw that video. JJ McCullough and Luis Perry recently made videos about the church too. Oh, were any of those good? Or did they veer a little verbosely anti-Mormon as well, Luke? Have you seen either one of those offerings on the tube of you?
Say them one more time.
JJ McCullough and Luis Perry.
I don't think so, actually.
You don't
Luis
think so?
Perry might ring a bell, and then the other one, I don't think so.
Okay, cool.
So I have to look at those.
All right. Well, we got all the super chats except for one last one by Mike Bell that just snuck in there. It says, Cowley, Lovell, Byron, and Cody were all majority LDS about 1900. Oh, interesting. Is that because there was like 2 people there? Or 3 people there, and 2 of them were, or no, I'm just kidding.
Brigham
I can't
Young
say
was
that.
sending people everywhere.
Yeah, I can't say that about Cody. I've actually had family living in Cody, Wyoming, so I'm familiar with Cody. But dude, Cody, I think at one point during COVID, so many people from LA County moved to Cody, Wyoming, that there was only 4 houses for sale in the entire place. Because there's a woman in my state whose family is from Cody, and she was looking for a house, and she literally could not find a property for sale because so many people that had just fled California had fled to Cody, Wyoming. And I think in Cody, Wyoming is where, not P. Diddy, not Tupac. Come on. The good rapper from the modern era that got busted for saying that he loved Hitler. Kanye West. I was gonna say Keanu Reeves, and I was like, no, Kanye. Yeah. So Kanye. So hold on, Kanye West. He's got like a ranch out there. Yeah, he's got a $14 million ranch, or had one that sold in June of 2024. But it says he still might own it. But he was gonna open up a factory for his shoes there. You know, the Yeezys. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Cody, Wyoming was supposed to be where they were going to be manufactured. He was like opening up a factory there or something. I might be totally off. Who knows? This is America. You can just live stream nonsense into the airwaves and not know what you're talking about.
That far right wing misinformation.
Yeah, this is just,
gosh darn it.
Trying to pump Kanye That's what I'm trying to do with my right-wing disinformation. So anyway, all right. So thanks a lot for hanging out with us, guys, on all platforms that you're hanging out with us. Today was just a chill stream. We're just having some fun today, talking about some of the latest, greatest happenings. But yeah, Luke, do we have any cool articles coming out soon, my man?
We do indeed. We have, well, I'm not going to say what they are because they're coming out soon.
Yeah. All right. But subscribe to our newsletter.
I will tease one of them is apparently the church is trying to hide, sexual A-wording charges in Denmark, and somebody did like a documentary about it.
Oh, is this the New Zealand
aired
documentary?
On, like, the public. No, this is Denmark. Yes, Denmark. Somebody just sent us the email today about it with the links.
Oh,
so I'm gonna watch
poor
that.
Danish members. Oh,
yeah, write that up.
Okay, where the cavalry's coming. It's a small cavalry, but it's coming, man. We'll have to see what's going on there. Anyway, yeah, guys, thanks. It's been totally awesome hanging out with you all. As always, it's been real and it's been fun, and it's been real fun for this and more. Please make sure you check us out at wardradio.com.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now.